learning the Hebrew alphabet and some words that will help reinforce the letters as we go. We're on lesson 9 starting today. And so far, these are the letters that we have learned in the past. Aleph, Bet, and Vet, Gimel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Yud, Lamed, Mem, and the Mem Sofit at the end of a word, Nun, and Nun Sofit at the end of a word. Last week we learned Nun. The script Nun Sofit comes at below the line. The block Nun Sofit might have a little doodle at the top, might not. It goes below the line. That's our Nun Sofit. This week we're going to start out by learning the letter Samich. And Samich in the script looks like this. In the block, there are many styles of Hebrew. I make my block Samich like that. And with this letter, we can write the word for horse, which is sus. Sus is the word for horse. We have the word for grandfather, grandpa, Saba. Saba. So we can practice writing these. Sus, Sus, Saba, you notice these vowels, they sound about the same, but they look different. It can be rather annoying. Which vowel is it? Ultimately, we'd like to get to the point where you just leave off the vowels. That's what they do in books and in newspapers in Israel. So Saba would be like this. That would be Saba, without vowels, without vowel pointing. And Sus would look like this. Sus. But we're not there yet. So if you have your book, we're on page 31. And if you look at the font that they use at the top of the page for the Samich, it's a little different from the way I drew it. But if you compare it to the final Mem, the Mem Sofit on page 23, it's alarming because they look almost exactly the same. You have to look at the lower right corner, and on the Mem Sofit, you have a sharp corner, and on the Samich, it's not quite sharp. So, different fonts will have different characteristics. This one, I don't like the difference, or the lack of a difference, between the Samich and the Mem Sofit in this font. It's a common problem, unfortunately. So, let's learn a new letter. Did I mention that the Samich has the sound of S, like an S? Well, so does the next letter. Sing. Sing. In script, it looks like this. It has a dot on the left. And in block, looks like this. It has that dot on the left. Sin has the sound of S. Why do two letters have the same sound? I don't know. But here's a great word. A word for a lamb, say. Se is a lamb. Try it. Let's practice the sin. 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 Say. 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 Another word, the word means happy. Sameach. Sameach. We have two vowels that bump into each other. So there's no place to put the second vowel before our final letter here. It's actually pronounced before this het, sameach, but there's no place else to put it. So we'll just put it in a space that's available. Sameach, happy. We learned the word for a festival before, Chag. Chag is a festival. Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach. Happy festival. And it's a greeting that people use at Passover or different feasts. Chag Sameach. If you don't say this correctly, if you can't make the guttural sound and you say Chag Sameach, that might mean happy pig. We're being ambitious today, and we're going to learn another letter. We'll learn 3 letters today, and we'll get credit for 2.5. The next letter we will learn is called Ayin. In script, it looks like that, like a fish that's swimming downward. In block, you use 2 strokes. It goes like that. Ayin. The book says that the pronunciation is silent. Historically, it had a sound that was a guttural sound, and it's a little bit like the glottal stop that we talked about with the aleph, but the difference is that it's vocalized, so you're trying to stop yourself from saying it, and then you force the air through anyway. To say this word right here with the historical sound of this letter, you'd say ayin, ayin. You hear it in Arabic. This letter exists in Arabic, and they call it ayin, and they pronounce it every time it occurs in a sentence. It's which is hard for people of European extraction to do, and consequently, this sound has almost disappeared from modern Israeli Hebrew. You'll see it from some speakers that are from Arabic-speaking countries. You'll see it with radio and TV announcers. They'll pronounce their guttural ayin. So with the ayin, we'll write the word al. Al, which means upon, on, about, al. What if we put it with the word for hand? Al yad. Al yad. This means upon or and or about, and the word for hand. It means nearby or near, at hand, if you wish. Al yad. Try it. Write al yad and say it. Al yad. Yeah, nearby, at hand. Very good. Another word, I need to make more room on the board though. We have a couple more words that we can make with our ayin. Ose, is do or does. Masculine, that's a masculine verb. Ose. And the feminine version of it is osa. Osa. Or makes. It can also means makes. This is the feminine. There's a song. It's in Hebrew liturgy. It says, Oseh Shalom Bimromav. He makes peace in his high places. This is also in the Mourner's Kaddish. The Mourner's Kaddish is mostly Aramaic, and there's a tradition, if you lose a loved one, you say the Mourner's Kaddish each day for a year. So you end up knowing this tremendous amount of beautiful Hebrew and Aramaic liturgy after you mourn the loss of a loved one. I'd like to include a song with this lesson. It's a song called Eli, Eli. The song says, my God, may these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rustle of the water, the lightning in the sky, and the prayer of man. The words were by Hannah Samich. And Hannah Samich was born in Hungary. She went to Israel at the age of 18. In 1943, when she was 22 years old, she volunteered to go into Nazi-controlled areas in Europe to save Jewish lives. In 1944, she parachuted into Yugoslavia. After staying with the partisans, she went to Hungary, where she was discovered and executed by the Germans. She is known both for her heroism and her poetry. Eli, Eli, written by Hannah Samich. This means, my God, my God. And we're going to include a sung version of this with this lesson, sung by Brigitte Wechsler. Eli, Eli. Some homework for this week. On page 32 at the top, fill in the blanks. At the bottom, translate. Page 33, they're asking you to answer the questions, but that's too difficult. Rather than that, just translate the top of page 33. In the middle, translate. The bottom, also translate. But note, there's the sentence I, the second sentence on the bottom, has the word ziva, and people have had trouble with that in the past. If you look at the prefix there, l means to ziva. We're going to use an indirect way of saying she doesn't have something. To ziva, ein. And so this is what this word means. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next session. Oh, excuse me. Work on Pimsleur Hebrew. You can do it every day. They teach you Hebrew better than I can. Thank you. See you next week.